In the example we've just looked at, we have had a number of diners, in this case 10 people, and we've tested them to see what their preference was for organic food. In the example, we had x is equal to 8, so we'd found 8 people with a preference for organic food, and we carried out a hypothesis test. We had our null hypothesis, our H0, which was a trade magazine, and stated that 40%, so p equals 0.4, 40% of people had a preference for organic food. We were testing that against our alternative hypothesis, H1, and that was that p was greater than 0.4. Under the null hypothesis, my value of x, this is my number of diners preferring organic food, followed a binomial distribution, 10 trials, this is our 10 diners, with probability of success 0.4. And we were asked to calculate the significance level of getting 8 or more people preferring organic food. So probability that x was greater or equal to 8, we calculated value 0.013, which was less than my 5% significance level, so I was able to reject the null hypothesis. But what I want to do is I want to have a look at, instead of having 8 people, I had another test with 10 people, but this time I had 7 of them expressing a preference for organic food. So still going to have a 5% significance level. I want to repeat my hypothesis test. Okay, so I want to work out what the significance is of getting probability of x greater than or equal to 7. Well, that's going to be equal to 1 minus the probability that x is less than or equal to 6. And I can put that into my calculator. Think I've got those already set up. So I'm looking for x is 6. I've got my number of tests set at 10. And I've got my probability of success 0.4. P 0.4. Hit equals, and I've got 1 minus 0.945. So this is equal to 0.055. It's very close to, but greater than, my 5% significance level that I'm testing at. So 0.055 is greater than 0.5. Therefore, I've got insufficient evidence to reject H0. Now, I want to just talk through quickly why I've chosen to use these words. Insufficient evidence to reject H0. Sometimes when you see these questions, including a couple of the examples that I'm sending around with these videos, you'll see people use the words accept H0. I just want to talk through why I prefer to use the words insufficient evidence to reject H0 rather than accepting H0. Let's have a think about what we've got with H0 and H1. So H0, under that hypothesis, P is equal to 0.4. Under my alternative hypothesis, H1, P is greater than 0.4. Well, if I've got 10 people coming in, and under H0, I've got a probability of 0.4, my expected value for x is going to be 0.4 times 10, 4 people expressing a preference for organic food. But I've actually got 7 people preferring organic food. So this piece of evidence, x equals 7, actually provides more evidence to support H1 than it does to support H0. I've got 7 rather than 4. So chances are P probably is going to be bigger than 0.4. But what it's doing, it's not providing me enough evidence to categorically get rid of my null hypothesis H0. I've got weak evidence to support H1. So the evidence doesn't support H0. Actually, it's because I've got 7 people and I was expecting 4. It provides weak evidence to support H1, and it provides very little evidence, if any at all, to support H0. So if I've got that result and I've got 7 people, I don't want then to give a positive statement that I'm going to accept H0. Actually, what I'm probably going to do is trying to get some more data and carry out the test again to see whether I can get sufficient evidence to make that conclusion. But that evidence of 7 people does not support H0. It just means I haven't got enough evidence yet to get rid of it. So I'm going to use the words insufficient evidence to reject H0. Don't want to use the words to accept H0. Doesn't provide evidence in favour of H0. So I'm almost finished the question. I've put insufficient evidence to reject H0. So that's my conclusion in respect of my model and my hypothesis test. I would still need to give that final statement of putting that conclusion into context of the question, which is insufficient evidence to reject at 5% significance level. Need to state my significance level, because if I was testing at 10%, actually I would have enough evidence to reject H0. So it's only at a 5% significance level. So there's insufficient evidence at 5% significance level to suggest the percentage of diners preferring organic is greater than 0.4. So 2 statements. 1, can we reject H0, or insufficient evidence to reject H0? Second statement, in the context of the question, insufficient evidence at a 5% significance level to suggest that the percentage of diners preferring organic is greater than 0.4, and then we've answered the question correctly.